Off the Atlantic coast of Africa lie the 10 islands that make up the archipelago of Cape Verde. The northern islands are known as Windward. Those to the south are known as Leeward. They form two quite distinct groups. All of Cape Verde's islands are of volcanic origin, a characteristic shared by several archipelagos in the North Atlantic. Despite their common geology and geographical proximity, the islands' landscapes are quite varied. Some are almost entirely desert, while others abound with lush vegetation. Many different bird species have been recorded here. Portuguese sailors arrived on these islands in the second half of the 15th century. The island soon became a trading post highly coveted by other naval powers. The painted ceramic tiles known as azulejos depict the transatlantic trade which brought wealth to the Portuguese colony. The pro-independence leader Amilcar Cabral was assassinated in 1973, 2 years before independence. Cape Verde's inhabitants are descended from the interbreeding of Portuguese colonists and Africans from the mainland. The archipelago has 500,000 inhabitants. A large number of Cape Verdeans have emigrated, and there are in fact more of them living abroad than on the islands. Sports, and football in particular, are very popular. The population is very young. 60% of Cape Verdeans are under the age of 25. Education is a priority. 75% of children go to school. The vast majority of the population is rural and has to adapt to a difficult and demanding environment. With limited means at their disposal, their makeshift dwellings often become permanent. In the built-up areas, remnants of the colonial era are everywhere. And modern architecture is proof that this country is the least poor in West Africa. The late great singer Cesaria Evora did a great deal to promote the country overseas. Her body now rests in her homeland. Her cultural influence in Cape Verde, as in the rest of the world, cannot be underestimated. Her music's nostalgic tunes are in sharp contrast with the frantic rhythms of the carnival. Introduced by the Portuguese, Catholicism is the archipelago's principal religion. Other religions also flourish here, such as Protestantism. Cape Verde is a fervently religious country. Places of worship are well frequented. And despite the proximity of Africa, there is little sign of spiritualist cults. Steep slopes make agriculture a challenge, and half of the land is uncultivated. In the valleys enriched by alluvial deposits, certain crops can be cultivated where the land has been terraced. Over half of the population works on the land. Despite some encouraging results, a large proportion of the country's food is imported. Livestock has to make do with meager pastures. Uncultivated land, which can also provide food for livestock, is very rare. Fishing remains a small-scale industry, despite Cape Verde's waters being rich in sea life. In fact, on some of the islands, fishing is virtually the only resource. With its paucity of natural resources, Cape Verde has turned its attention towards means of renewable energy. These now account for 30% of the island's electrical power. Managing the water supply is absolutely vital to a country which has been afflicted by decades of drought. All the more so since industry is limited to the extraction of the volcanic rock, which is used in the manufacture of the local version of cement. Along with salt, which has been a major resource only since the 19th century, crafts have started to make a contribution to the country's economic diversity. Despite being produced on a small scale, crocheted cotton items have attracted people's attention. Similarly, the strong spirit known as grog is distilled from sugarcane, using tried and tested methods, and has become Cape Verde's national beverage. Commercial ports are Cape Verde's best asset in the quest for economic development, especially since the network of tarmac roads is only now beginning to be developed. What roads there are paved with volcanic rock. Most of the islands have an airport, and 4 of these can accommodate international traffic. Electronic communications are a growing trend here, like everywhere else. And there's a mobile telephone network, which in theory covers all the islands and tries to blend into the landscape. Shipping links between the islands are vital, particularly for the nascent tourist industry. Off the beaten track, Cape Verde has plenty to offer visiting tourists, including sites of outstanding natural beauty and an almost limitless range of marine activities. Thanks to 3,000 hours of sunshine per year, tourism has become the driving force behind Cape Verde's economic growth. In 10 years, this sector has grown 6 times faster than the national economy. For the Creole archipelago, the sky's the limit. To the south, Santiago is the largest of Cape Verde's islands. Since the mid-19th century, it has been home to Cape Verde's capital, Praia, which is also the country's most populous city. Praia has seen a remarkable population boom, and in fact is home to a quarter of the country's people. Apart from its administrative buildings, the city has kept some striking relics of its colonial architectural heritage, including churches. The Catholic Church has shown its support for Cape Verde, which was once under the yoke of Marxism. Pope John Paul II's visit in 1990 was a reminder of this support. Praia was for many years a clandestine port used by traders seeking to avoid paying customs duty. Nowadays, much of the port's activity involves the fishermen. The ocean is rich with life, and some spectacular catches can be seen along the quayside. Despite the size of some species, these fishermen cannot compete with the industrial fishermen, whose trawlers can net in one trip more than thousands of small-scale fishermen can in a year. This imbalance is a real threat to Cape Verde's fishing industry. Santiago's fruit and vegetable market is a real showcase for its variety of agricultural riches. The problem is that the island is unable to sell these throughout the archipelago. It's impossible to transport bananas, for example, without packaging them properly. A new approach to processing agricultural produce is essential. In Sucupira market, most of the goods on sale are non-perishable. Textiles are sold as finished goods, although alterations can be made on site. The market stalls are brimming with all manner of goods. It's important to remember, though, that for many years Cape Verde was one of the world's poorest countries. Monitoring children's diets is still a priority here. Carefully dredged in flour and deep fried, this fish is popular with everyone. It's a delicious local version of fast food.
Santiago Moreil, the best in Cape Verde.
Many have left the other islands to settle in Praia. This rural exodus also explains the capital's rapid development. Erosion has greatly marked the face of Cape Verde. Ribeira Grande Valley is a perfect example. Humans have also left their mark here. Standing beside the ocean, the royal fort of St. Philip dates from the end of the 16th century and was designed to overlook the valley and discourage pirates from attacking. English corsair Sir Francis Drake himself left the area in ruins. The Portuguese first landed at Cidade Velha and built Africa's first cathedral. It was their first imprint on tropical soil. Great Portuguese sailors could see the dreamlike vision of the cathedral in the distance. Nothing remains of their boats but engravings in the stone. Life for the early African slaves here hung by a thread. They were herded into the town, and the punishment for any misdeed was the pillory. absolute priority for Cape Verde is taking care of its plantations. Plant life feeds the soil with organic matter, but also stabilizes it with its roots and prevents it from being washed away down the slopes. This is the only way this land can be cultivated. When the conditions are right, Cape Verde can produce some very profitable crops, such as papayas, bananas, and most of all, sugarcane. Sugarcane prospers here in this volcanic soil, but it needs a great deal of water, and not all of the islands have it. Without enough high ground, clouds cannot form and it never rains. Some plants, however, do just fine.
We're now standing at the foot of one of Cape Verde's oldest baobab trees.
The baobab is the archetypal tree of Africa's arid tropics. Its softwood has no commercial use, but it does retain groundwater. Cape Verde does not grow enough cane to produce sugar, but the cane is used for producing grog, the local rum.
So in here we put the water and sugarcane juice. We then distill the mash by boiling it in a still. The vapor condenses in here, and we collect the liquid in this big barrel right here.
A part of Cape Verde's terroir that's not to be missed. The countryside provides little in the way of sustenance, but it is still vital. Small-scale farmers come to Asomada market to sell their produce and also to buy basic necessities. "3,000 kilometers away from Lisbon, Cape Verde's remoteness was a vital tool of the dictator Salazar's repression in Portugal. A concentration camp was built in Tarrafal to the north of Santiago. Political prisoners here were subjected to treatments directly inspired by the Gestapos. When the dictatorship fell in 1974, the camp gates closed on its nefarious past. The Atlantic Ocean's waves inspire respect.
Conditions are just right today. This here is a good spot, good waves. We like it like this. No one knows about it, so we get left alone. There aren't too many people here. Ah, it's perfect.
Spots like this make Cape Verde a popular destination for surfers. Resistance to colonization took many forms. In Santiago's northwest, rebels known as rebelados peacefully resisted the Catholic Church's attempts to outlaw their animist practices. They consider themselves Africans, not half-breeds. Rebelados gradually opened up to the outside world they had long rejected.
In the old days, we were all Catholics, but during the 40s, the community became divided and we became rebels. What makes us different is that we only use natural means. Candles, oil lamps, no electricity. We put our faith in the light of God.